Hey guys, it's the Cryptic Cinema here, and today I'm going to be coming at you with a horror DVD update. I say horror, there's two titles in here that's non-horror, but primarily the titles that I have picked up over the past month have been horror, and that's basically just because I've been wanting to expand my horror collection over the past month or so, and I've only really been interested in buying and watching horror movies over the past month. It won't really be a long-term thing, it's just something I've done over the past month just to, again, try and expand my horror collection, get some of those rare titles, some of those rare Anchor Bay releases, and yeah, that kind of stuff. But I do have two non-horror DVDs I'm going to show first. So the first one is Red Dawn, starring Patrick Swayze. The concept in this one is really good, the sort of Soviet invasion, World War II type thing. However, I didn't really enjoy it. I found it to be a little bit too long in feature runtime, and also, I don't know, it just seemed way longer than it actually is. The movie itself is 1 hour 40 minutes, but it just seems to drag on for so much longer. And basically the concept is the Russians basically invade America, and it's kind of up to Patrick Swayze and his mates to sort of save the world, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, the concept seems really cool, but for me it was just kind of a drag. I don't know, it didn't really seem to pace itself very well. I know that's an unpopular opinion, I know a lot of people love this movie, but I just didn't really care for it that much, and it's such a shame because I thought I was going to really enjoy this one. The next one is a title I haven't actually seen, but I really enjoyed the first movie, so I just had to pick this one up as well, and it is Operation Condor 2, Operation Condor, aka Armour of God 2, and the first Armour of God movie is really great in my opinion. It's kind of got that sort of adventure Indiana Jones vibe. Like I said, I haven't actually seen this one yet, but if it's anything like the first one, then I know it's just going to be a really great movie. The next one is one that I needed to purchase to complete my Universal Legacy collection on Region 1, and it is the Mummy. The complete Legacy collection. Again, this is the Region 1 release. This is a really good release, and if you are interested in watching any of the Universal movies along with the sequels to the movies, I definitely recommend the Region 1 sets. You can get them for around £10 from most sellers on eBay. But I just found that the Region 1 sets are definitely the best ones to pick up. Comes with a sort of not episode guide, but a guide to the movies themselves. The first movie is on this disc, and of course the sequels are on this disc. You have to flip the disc to watch the latter two movies, but still a really great set, and I definitely recommend these Universal Legacy collections. I do believe they do Region 2 ones now, or alternatively, if you wanted to pick them up on Blu-ray, I do believe they do a big box set. I just prefer having them on DVD. But yeah, a really great movie, classic, The Mummy, 1932. The sequels, however, aren't really that great. I've only watched the first two thus far, and to be honest, I'm not really that keen on watching the latter two, The Mummy's Ghost and The Mummy's Curse, just because it just seems to get a bit repetitive after The Mummy's Hand, which is the second Mummy movie. But yeah, I mean, it's still pretty cool to own all of them, and again, if you are going to check them out, I definitely recommend these Region 1 releases, although I do believe they have started releasing them on Region 2. They've got their own sort of Region 2 Legacy collections now, but yeah, that's just one I needed for the collection. The next one is Contamination, starring Ian McCulloch, who I've actually met at a sci-fi convention. Yeah, this one was really cool, about sort of like exploding alien pods. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of got that whole alien vibe to it, although not quite, sort of like a more low budget version. Um, yeah, it's quite a fun, quirky film, um, and it's definitely worth it for the end. The sort of mother alien, the queen alien, or whatever you'd like to call it, um, is a great sort of like moment in the film. But yeah, definitely branded as being a sort of alien rip-off. Although I wouldn't really go as far to say that. I'd say there are quite a lot of distinctive differences between the two films. I guess the only real main similarity is the sort of alien egg things, but they don't really look anything like the eggs in the Alien movies. But anyway, yeah, it's just a definitely one to check out. I'd definitely categorise it as a sci-fi film, although most would say it's horror. But yeah, Contamination. The next one is a infamously terrible film, and it is Zombie Lake. Yeah, what can I say about this one? It's been branded as one of the worst movies of all time. Although I wouldn't really go that far, I'd still say it's quite a fun movie to watch. Yeah, about Nazi zombies that come out of a lake, I guess. How can I really describe this? And terrorise a load of people on vacation. They also befriend a young girl, which is pretty fucking weird in my opinion, but yeah, to be honest, I didn't think this was as awful as I was expecting it to be. I kind of went in with the mindset of it being one of the worst movies of all time, completely unwatchable. However, I do think it's a fun watch if you're in the mood for it. And also about this release, this is one of the old Anchor Bay releases. Sorry, not Anchor Bay, Arrow releases, which I think it's one of the very first ones that they released in 2003. However, I do have another really old Arrow release of Dawn of the Dead, which is very similar to this one. But as far as releases are concerned, I think this is one of the first that Arrow did put out. I guess that's a cool reason to pick this one up. The next one is one I was very pleasantly surprised with, and that is Black Sabbath by Mario Bava, the film that well, the reason why the band Black Sabbath are called Black Sabbath, basically, but that's a whole different story. And yeah, this is a great spooky film, anthology horror from Mario Bava. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's anything else really to say about this one. The final story in this, A Drop of Water, is definitely the best one of the whole film. Definitely one of the most creepiest ones, anyway. Next one is a film I thoroughly did enjoy, and it is Cannibal Apocalypse, one of the former Video Nasties, and obviously starring John Saxon. Great movie, lots of fun. A lot of people think it's a cannibal movie, some people think it's a zombie movie. Personally, I think it's sort of like a mixture of those anyway, because if you've got the sort of living dead human corpses going around, sort of taking chunks out of people, then it normally is branded as a zombie movie. But people have their own opinion on that anyway. It's great to see John Saxon in this movie, and I did pick up the Region 1 release because, according to my friend here on YouTube, Jumpmaster Free, the Region 2 release had or featured a scene where a dead rat, or where a rat was burnt in the sewer scene in this, and it was cut, so I think it had like around 1 second cut. So I had to pick up the Region 1 release, obviously, to see that dead burning rat action. But yeah, as far as releases are concerned, this was a great one, and yeah, definitely check that one out. Next one is Chud, not really going to say much about this one. It kind of speaks for itself. A lot of people already know about it. Great movie about cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Yeah, great creepy atmospheric movie. A lot of people say you don't see the creature enough, or the creatures enough. I'd counter that and say that it's actually better that way. You know, it's sometimes what you don't see that makes a movie quite scary. And I'd actually disagree. I think you do see the creatures more than you really should in this film. You know, there's that scene in the phone booth, and obviously you see them quite a lot towards the end of the film as well. And yeah, just a great atmospheric movie. Definitely would check that one out. Next one is Driller Killer. Obviously a movie that's despised by many. I actually quite enjoyed this one. I went in knowing that it was going to be a sort of art house film with slasher elements, because there are slasher elements in this. A guy does go around killing people with a drill. However, that isn't the main focus of the film. It's more of an art house film, like I said before, and about this guy living underneath these sort of like, it's like, I don't know if it's like a metal band or a punk band, but it's just a really quite depressing, somber film in that respect. And he finally flips at the end and goes berserk with a drill. But yeah, definitely a great one, great imagery in this one as well. And although I can see why people don't like it. The next one is a film I got to sort of expand my Hammer horror collection, and it's also one I've been struggling to find on DVD, and it is Dracula Prince of Darkness, my favourite of the Dracula Hammer horror films. Of course, starring Christopher Lee. It's the one where Christopher Lee does not speak at all. Yeah, really great movie. Obviously nothing to do with the Dracula novel, following up from the sequel, which was based on the Bram Stoker novel. And yeah, I'd say the first 40 minutes of this film are very slow and not necessarily unwatchable, but I guess they do that to build the suspense to the great Christopher Lee's screen entrance, I guess, in this film. But yeah, the latter half of the film is just incredible, and I definitely would recommend that this one is added to the collection. This also does feature the Many Faces of Christopher Lee documentary, which is a great sort of little clip of Christopher Lee talking about his film career and you know, all of his favourite movies that he starred in. And yeah, it's just a really great movie. It's done very informally, so it's like he's actually talking to you in the room. And yeah, this one's just a really great DVD to pick up, I guess. Next one is the Shriek Show release of Just Before Dawn. This is a great movie, great atmospheric slasher movie based in the set in the woods. And what can I really say about this one? It's just an awesome slasher movie that I definitely would recommend everybody checks out, if you're a slasher fan at least. Yeah, I don't really want to say too much because it might just give away the main focus of the story, but essentially it's about a group of people that go camping, and they're sort of stalked by two fat brothers, fat psychopathic brothers. Yeah, and there's also another creepy family that live in the woods, that bear relation to those two that are going around killing people, but definitely a great movie. Next two were sent to me by one of my friends, and the first one is Rats, the Blue Underground edition. This is a movie I've always wanted to check out, and upon watching it, I did actually. There were elements of this that I actually quite liked. I liked the multiple scenes with rats. Of course, I guess that's the main reason why you'd want to pick this one up, and it definitely does deliver on that basis. A lot of rats in the film. The only aspect I didn't like is the post-apocalyptic vibe of the movie. I think the movie would have done a lot better if it was set in modern day sort of New York, and the rats were beneath the sewer and they just came out and, you know, terrorized the city. But it's kind of a different take on it. It's more of a post-apocalyptic film where these group of like bikers find this old derelict building to camp out in, and they're sort of terrorized by a bunch of rats. One thing I will say is, though, the end scene is just amazing. But as far as the film itself overall, I'd only really give it a 5 out of 10. That's a Bruno Mattei film as well. Next one he sent is a film directed by David A. Pryor. It's actually the first movie David A. Pryor directed, and it is a shot-on-video movie called Sledgehammer. This is one that I actually discussed with my friend, and he said that he actually has an old DVD that he'd be willing to send me, and to be honest, this one does go for quite a bit of money online, so I think it's very generous of him to send me this one. But in terms of the movie, I was actually pleasantly surprised by it. I just went in thinking it was just going to be quite a shitty movie, shitty sort of shot-on-video slasher, but it actually turned out to be quite a fun watch, to be honest, about a group of people that stay in this house that obviously has a haunted past. You know, the whole horror cliche. And of course there's a guy with a sledgehammer going around killing people. Yeah, and it also has a hilarious end scene where a little kid sort of like morphs into a giant lumberjack. So if you don't want to check it out based on what I've just said, then all the fool you, I guess. But this is a really great Region 1 release of the film, and there is the sort of killer lumberjack that features in the movie. It's got a really great extras on this as well, featuring a featurette with a load of people. There it is, talking about the movie and talking about the history of shot on video, and yeah, great addition. Thank you very much, Tim, for those 2 films. He did actually send me more movies, but I haven't actually watched those yet, so I don't think I could do them justice to talk about them. The next one is Pinocchio's Revenge, and this one is one I picked up on eBay for, I think it was around £10, but it's a film I've always wanted to check out, and I think £10 was definitely worth it to feed my curiosity about this film, because it is one that I've been curious about for quite a while. In terms of plot, not really anything too special. It's more of like a Child's Play rip-off, but with a Pinocchio doll. Yeah, I definitely would check this out for anyone that's interested on that basis. But great movie. Sorry, not a great movie. It is a very shit movie, but yeah, I'd still check it out for the sort of novelty of whatever this fucking movie is. The next one is a very shitty release of Shakna, which I wouldn't recommend at all. If you're going to buy this one, there is a great Code Red release of this film, and I also think it has another release by Scream Factory. I'm not really sure though, but I could be really wrong there. But this movie is mediocre at best. Definitely not the best release to pick up if you are going to pick up a release of this movie. Again, definitely check out the Code Red release. But in terms of killer monkey movies, you kind of get what you pay for. Killer baboon going around killing people. Next one is a bootleg, which I picked up from a convention a few years back, and it is Brazilian Star Wars. Really crazy movie. I just don't have any words for this. The only thing I will say is YouTube Brazilian Star Wars fruit scene, and you will not be disappointed, I assure you. Next one, Howling 3. Not the greatest Howling movie, and to be honest, I don't really think the Howling films are for me in general, but this one I just didn't really buy into the whole story. It's not as bad as the second, but I still think it's a pretty shoddy movie in my opinion. Yeah, just really not impressed with this one at all. Also a really terrible release. Prism Entertainment, whatever the fuck they're called, they just do a really shit job of transferring films over to DVD. They look like really poorly. They look like they've been really poorly transferred from VHS, basically. But yeah, and the only thing I can really say that's good about this is the cover. So there's that. The next one is a compilation of trailers released by Something Weird Video, and that one is Extra Weird Sampler. Yeah, I picked this up quite cheap on eBay, and it's just full of really, really bizarre horror movie, sci-fi movie, softcore movie trailers, and it's just really great if you're watching with a bunch of friends. And some really, really funny, wacky trailers on this one. But again, definitely would recommend if you're into that sort of into watching horror movie trailers or anything of the sort. I definitely would recommend this one. The next movie is a pretty shitty movie, starring Samuel L. Jackson. He's in the movie for about, I want to say about 20 seconds, and that is Death by Temptation, filmed by James Bond 3, which is obviously what some directors use to just rid their name from the production because it was so shit. One thing I did find funny is Sean C. Phillips made a little comment here, 1,000,000 times better than Twilight, and obviously he knew what he was saying there because Twilight is a terrible movie. But I would say the production of Twilight is, or the production value of Twilight is probably much better than this film. And when I say probably, I mean definitely. This is just a really hard film to get through. But on the bright side, it is Samuel L. Jackson is in it for about 20 seconds, so does that warrant you to pick it up? Probably not, but yeah, really sort of shitty vampire movie, blaxploitation. Yeah, not really much to say about this. Troma Retro released it because it is technically a Troma movie. It's in their same library. Although at the very beginning of the film, Lloyd Kaufman gives a little presentation or introduction to the movie, claiming he has nothing to do with this film. So clearly, even Troma don't even want it. I just found that really quite funny. For the movie that for the production company that brought this release out, just don't want anything to do with it. And the final movie that I picked up is the coveted Dracula the Dirty Old Man, released by Something Weird Video. Saw this in Mike Matei's collection video of Cinemassacre, and I just sparked my curiosity so much I had to pick it up on eBay. I had sort of bargained the seller down to a reasonable price, which still was a little overpriced for a movie of this nature, but what can I say about this? Just a softcore Dracula movie, man. Not really anything else to it. And it does come with a lot of good special features, though. I mean, Something Weird really do overdo the special features, in my opinion, especially for old DVDs. I mean, this wasn't released anytime recently. Apparently it was 2002, so yeah, really great special features for the time of this release. But this is a very, very hard DVD to come by. I've been wanting to pick this one up for quite a while, and I'm so glad I picked it up on eBay for, again, quite a sort of mid-range price, but still. So that concludes my DVD update. Again, mainly horror titles in this one for the month of August 2020. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.